Welcome to the 2024 NFL season, here with the brand new Dynamic Kickoff the NFL introduced. The only thing I want to say before I go into breaking down the whole thing for you is that one thing I do not mention throughout the rest, and so I will go for it at the top, is onside kicks. Now, onside kicks are still allowed, however, only in the fourth quarter. And with that being said, you also have to say you are going to attempt an onside kick. Therefore, surprise onside kicks are a thing of the past for now, until maybe in the future they might bring it back. But as a result, no more Sean Payton halftime surprise onside kicks to win Super Bowls. Now you have to admit it, and well, onside kicks haven't been that successful anyway for the last however many years, and pretty much you already know what's going to happen when it's going to happen. So the surprise element's never really been that much of there. But it's one significant rule change with the new kickoffs that, again, is a pretty big deal. Now, hope you enjoy the illustrations and everything I go through, and I hope you learn the NFL kickoff well. And if you feel that you really have it down, make sure to leave a comment and say that you learned it well. And if not, well, write down what I could do better next time if I do something like this in the future. And as always, like and follow for more. Okay, here I'm going to go over the setup for the kickoff. That way it can go underway. Now, what's not really changing is that the kicker is still going to line up at the 35-yard line. And here, I will draw it next. Kicker with a football with a little T there. He's still kicking that away, right? Now, you might be wondering, okay, where are his teammates going to line up for special teams? Because before, they used to line up at the 35-yard line with him, but that is one of the things that is changing now, so they don't get a huge head start. That way, they're hitting the other team at full speed, yada, yada, yada. Now, the special teamers for the kicking team are actually going to line up at the opponent's 40-yard line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's going to be 10 guys who line up at the 40-yard line of the opponent. Now, you might be asking then, okay, well, where are the return team special teamers going to line up other than the guys who are returning the kicks? Now, they are actually going to line up, they get a choice to line up anywhere between the 30 and 35-yard line, this right here. So you will see that you'll have at least 9 guys here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So you get 9 guys there in between the 30 and 35-yard line. And the reason I put 9 is because actually most returning teams are going to have 2 guys back to try to return the kick. That's kind of one of the things that's going to be with the new rules. Is you would see it sometimes on punt returns before, but now it's going to be more for the kickoffs. And they want to return the ball. That's going to be their pretty much bottom line. All right, next we're going to go over the rules of the new kickoff as well as kind of how it's done and how it works. Now, starting off with here, the kicker. I will draw a kicker here. He's going to line up at the 35-yard line, right? And here with the kicker, again, nice gentleman ready to kick a football here on the tee. That's actually kind of a small football, but whatever. He's kicking that way. Okay, so with the new NFL rules, the kicker wants to kick it. Here, I have this gold here called the gold zone. He wants to kick it between the 20-yard line, right, and the end zone line. Not into the end zone, but here, this kind of box right here. I'll kind of make it in yellow. He wants to kick it in there. Because if the ball bounces in there, and A, it's not returned, or B, it goes into the end zone and then it's a touchback, yada, yada, yada. If it bounces in there first and the return team doesn't return it, then the ball gets placed at the 20-yard line. Kind of like an old touchback where it's really not good for the return team and they want to return it. That's the best spot. Now next, if kind of like how it's been before, if the ball is kicked, I'll make it in red, into the end zone or behind the end zone like it used to be a traditional touchback, now the football is going to be placed at the 30-yard line, which definitely isn't what the kicking team wants to do, right? They want it to be as further back as possible, so that's no good. Now, an even worse decision, which I can make this in black, is let's say he kicks the ball, right? And it doesn't even make it to the 20-yard line before it bounces. It goes here, and then it starts bouncing. Or let's say the ball goes out of bounds, or it bounces wherever and then out of bounds, right? If the ball bounces out of bounds anywhere or doesn't make it to the 20-yard line, then the ball gets set at the 40-yard line, which is no good for the kicking team. That is an absolute no-no, and that's a problem. So that's why, for if you're the kicking team, you really want it to go in this zone right here. That's what you want. And then if you can't get that, well, then, the end zone, it's not horrible. It kind of makes sense, because let's say they have a really good dynamic returner, no pun intended, but you're okay with it at the 30-yard line, but definitely not the 40. Another thing with the kickoff is that, let's say the ball is in the air and it's traveling, and then once the returner, right, picks it, and he goes, right, and he tries to get through and goes to the end zone, right, that's when everyone else can move. So before that, no one can move. I mean, the kicker can actually start running, but other than that, the people here who are on this line right here, they cannot move until the ball either A, hits the ground, or B, a returner catches it, which is kind of the idea of it that makes it better for the dynamic returner, the person back, so they get a little bit more momentum. And also it makes it so these guys in the middle here don't butt heads as hard and thus reduce injuries. Now it also is another thing, because now kickers are actually kind of required to defend their position. So they want to tackle these guys, right? And the difference with that is that's why kickers, I guess, are getting stronger. They're kind of building up mass, or they're having certain guys on their team be this new kickoff guy instead of the traditional kicker. Because now the kickers actually have to make a tackle, because if you think about it, they have one extra guy here on the line, but this is the only guy that's really dynamic in the whole thing that can actually kind of run and change direction quickly, because all these guys are off to a slow pace. So it's a really interesting return that hopefully will be more exciting than it has been in the past, because in the past, the kickoff now is kind of just a touchback, take it to the 25, and that's kind of it. Whereas now it'll be pretty interesting, and we'll see how it goes in the NFL. Let me know if you think this is a great idea, or if you don't like it at all, or anything related to that. And as always, like and follow for more.